Here is a 2024 Kia Forte GT in frozen white pearl over black sport seats. The GT. This is going to get that 1.6 liter turbocharged four-cylinder. It has more horsepower and torque than the Honda Civic Si. It's also a little bit quicker. And comparing it to Mazda and Toyota, what you're getting is a value. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm going to touch bases on this with some pros and cons, show you what the GT is opposed to the GT line. So the GT line will start off with the aesthetics on the exterior, but you're going to be getting the 2.0 liter four-cylinder underneath the hood. It's going to have somewhat of the same structure because you're going to have the pinstripes on the lower, the gloss black elements, and the tiger nose grille will be identical, excluding the line portion of it. LED headlights, daytime runnings, and fog lights. I like how the headlamp assembly connects into the fenders because it makes it visually look longer than it is. Underneath the hood swaps the 2.0 to the 1.6 liter turbocharged four-cylinder. It's 201 horsepower with 195 pound-feet of torque. You're also changing out transmissions. You got a 7-speed DCT transmission, which is a dual clutch automatic transmission for quicker changes, making it more of a sporty drive, and achieving 27 mpgs for the city and 35 mpgs for the highway. Reaching 60 is under 7 seconds, which is quicker than this Civic. It's going to be a little bit slower than the Mazda 3 Turbo, but then the price. I mean, this thing is a 26 grand vehicle. Go into Mazda, you're over $30,000. When you option the Toyota GR Corolla, that's around $40,000. So when you're thinking the performance you're getting out of such a small engine in quick numbers 0 to 60s, that's why this is a bargain. Now you will have to spend about 2 grand more for a 6-speed manual transmission, in which I don't know if I would option that because you got a DCT in which it's going to be faster than you changing the gears physically. Upgraded 18-inch wheels. This is a two-tone. The rear suspension changes out the torsion beam, getting a multi-link suspension with a Sport Tune suspension. And the GT line will get 17-inch wheels, and going down the trim will be 16-inch wheels. So you're not necessarily sacrificing if you're looking to achieve the look going into the GT line. But for a couple of grand, I would probably option this one myself because it's such a sweet spot in value and quick speeds. LED taillights, trunk lip spoiler gets the gloss black. One con that I have right off the bat with any of these tiers is similar to the Camry for Toyota. They have a TRD, which they pretty much use a double-sided tape or a 3M tape to put the side curtain, and that's kind of what they've done here, and you can see it because the way it kind of bulges outwards. I wish they integrated that a little bit more flush, but the rear gets the dual exhaust outlets, the gloss black tips, and you get the pinstripe that's going to wrap around it with the Sport Tune exhaust, which makes it a little bit more exciting because when you're considering any of its rivals, they're going to be more expensive. They're not going to have that. You would have to go into a GR Corolla or a Camry TRD, in which all of those are in the mid-30s to $40,000. Quick release, going into 15.3 cubic feet of storage. The opening isn't that bad. You can split fold the rear bench in the back. Underneath is going to get the spare tire. And because I'm tall, let me just push these down. It doesn't fold all the way flat, but it will increase the cargo capacity to nearly a Honda Accord. It's only about a cubic feet less. We need to go inside and start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. Six-way manual adjustment with the Sport Cloth Syntec seats. This is out of the GT line, so the bolstering is going to be a little bit more sport derived, and you get the pedals that are sport derived. Headroom and leg room, they don't skimp in the space for the interior. Satin aluminum that's going to run into the center into this 10.25 touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, Kia Connect. Put it into reverse. It comes with a reverse camera with trajectory. It expands out when you turn the steering wheel. You can also change different camera layouts. but I don't like how it doesn't cover the whole screen. Just has this quick wedge here. I don't need to see navigation when I'm reversing. The quick wedge is good when I have it on here, because if I want to listen to my media or if I just want to know the time, I don't mind it so much. Dual climate control settings, QI wireless charger, USB 12 volt area that you can put your sunglasses, and an area back here for the key fob, which is right here for the GT. Leather around the shifter, driving mode select. It's going to be more fun. So you have normal, which is going to be your everyday, sport, which would be my everyday, smart, I would say get the GT line. It's going to be a little bit more firm. It's pushed back too. So if you're short, it's going to be basically an elbow rest. Opens up. It's not necessarily so deep, but just look at what I mean. Even me being this tall, I have to kind of go back in order to get inside. Leather wrap steering wheel. This is the GT with the flat bottom. Adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, the paddle shifts. In the gauge cluster, you can go through an array of information for the driver on the smaller digital reader. The door and the dashboard integrate together, but because of the price, you can start seeing the materials sacrificing a little bit. But it is going to be a little bit more sporty. You expect that one touch up and down only for the driver window. Storage pocket isn't bad. You have a beverage holder carved out in the center. No auto dimming rear view mirror. Headroom is actually really good for a smaller sedan. Leg space is as well. It's going to be better than the Corolla. You'll have storage behind the passenger seat, a USB port, air vents, cup holders with armrests, and the bolstering comes into the back, but it's not going to be as sporty as the front. The door is going to have the same material as the front, so you get the gloss black, and this is pretty much the only area that they put any detail to with that contrast stitching. One cup or bottle holder is going to be for the door pocket. The floor is almost flat, but you'll still have to pick your feet up. The rails are pushed back, but you do have enough feet space. Butt and shoulder space will be a little bit tight, so this is going to be more so for a quick drive, because here is where it's going to be hard for somebody over 6 foot tall. A 1.6 liter 4-cylinder turbo. Who would have thought you get so much power out of a Forte? This is just above a Rio. 201 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. These numbers are better than the Honda Civic Si, in which it's more money, more grown up. This feels more fun, and you can option a manual transmission also, but I probably would option the way it is, because might as well save a couple grand. That way if you want to do a wrap or you want to do something cool or funky, you could do so with this. That's why it's such an exciting car, because you're getting it so inexpensive. I like the Civic Si. It's a very fun vehicle to drive, but I mean, I also like to save $2,000 to $4,000 minimum in my pocket. If I'm going to the Golf, the same thing. I mean, a GTI is going to be over $30,000. Go to the Corolla, get a GR Corolla. I just reviewed one last week. Awesome vehicle, but you're talking $42,000. You can buy a his and her with this and have fun through the weekdays and the weekends, in which you would kind of save miles. Look at some of the performance. And the exhaust filters in. Oh, it's an exciting car. I would definitely consider this over the GT line, unless I'm just wanting to have a sport look. I'm getting everything in a package for just $2 or $3 grand. And that's gonna take me to some pros and cons. And starting off with the pros about the Forte is how cheeky Kia did it. I mean, you're getting just enough horsepower and torque to beat the Civic. It's almost the same speeds as a GTI. And for the Mazda 3 Turbo, the price is such a significant bump. I mean, you're talking a minimum of about 5 to near 10 grand. Whether it's a second or so quicker, it's irrelevant at that point. And going against the Corolla, there's not even a challenge there, because that thing gets 0 to 60s in like the 8-9 seconds. It takes you a day before you can get onto the interstate. Here, you're not going to have that issue. Now, the cons to the vehicle is the materials that they use in the interior does feel inexpensive, and I can understand, because you are getting a lot more power underneath the hood. You're also changing out the suspension, the transmission, you're getting a sports exhaust. Everything is pretty much swapped out. So the bargain, you're gonna have to sacrifice in some things, but the ride quality doesn't feel over the top for a little sports car. And it's still family oriented. I wouldn't say it's the best in gas consumption, but it's not bad either, considering what you're getting for speeds. And when you go into the Mazda 3 Turbo, everybody knows, going onto the interstate, it starts kind of bogging down. With this little engine, you don't actually have the same bog feel. It actually wants to go a little bit more so. And a lot of that also is derived because it's a 7-speed DCT transmission. Dual clutch automatic transmissions are quick. The ZF automatic transmission is just as quick, research has found. But if I have the option to get this, I mean, it's a fun drive and you don't have to worry about changing gears. Braking on the vehicle, it's light, it's small. It's not too bad. I kind of wish it was a little bit more tight. Turn radius at a stop point, and here we go. And that's what I mean by quick and fun. It's gonna put a smile on your face. The big problem that I have with the Forte GT is that if you want to option anything to it, meaning a manual transmission, you got to pay about $2,000 more, and it doesn't come fully loaded. You do have to option features, so this could get over or right around 30 grand. It's still a great value vehicle compared to any of its rivals in class. It's just because of the materials that they use inside, I would have liked to see some of it maybe a little bit more soft. Because really the only area that is soft is where you sit in the seats. We have to give her a go. It's not going to be as quick as that motorbike. And when we change the driving modes, how does it feel? Smart. It is going to be a little bit more heavy when you put it into Smart. Normal will obviously drive the way you've been driving the car, but when you go into Sport, it is a different animal with an exhaust in the back. The seat positioning sits a little bit more in the middle for the door panel, so it doesn't necessarily have that sport feel all the time, in which when you're driving it on daily, you can kind of forget how much power you have underneath the hood. You don't actually feel that same way in the Mazda, or if you were to bump it up, I would say at least 10 to 15 grand going into the GR Corolla, it always feels sporty. So I kind of wish they did that here, but I can also understand and appreciate the value that I'm getting. And it's not to be a broken record saying value, it's just, how are you going to implement any of these changes? It's going to increase the price drastically, and then that sweet spot becomes an exit, because now you can go into any variant. That's why overall, this is one of the best packages that you can get, unless you just want the aesthetics on the exterior. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Regal Kia for giving us this 2024 Kia Forte GT for our car review.